Hey, I didn't say in the beginning of this video when I originally recorded, but fucking spoiler alert! I'm gonna be spoiling every aspect of these movies. Make sure you go watch them, cause if you don't, then you're a giant.
Yahoo!
But if you don't care about spoilers and just want to hear my voice or just an overview of the entire trilogy, then fine, stick around. But you should definitely just watch these movies. I've been editing this for like 6 hours, and I am in a healthy state of mind. So, yeah, thanks. I'm about to put you guys on one of the best movie trilogies of all time. And I don't say that lightly. As a Lord of the Rings fan, perfect trilogy means a lot to me. It's a heavy word. The Planet of the Apes movies, or I'm going to call it the Caesar trilogy. I don't know if that's been coined already, but I'm going to stick with it for the rest of the video, is one of the most perfect cinematic experiences of my lifetime. And it's so odd that it's about a bunch of monkeys taking over the world. Like, the concept has always sounded insane, and it's because it comes from, the original movie from the 1960s, a very pulpy sci-fi, but the Caesar trilogy takes a goofy thing and makes it dead to rights serious. Where to the point where you're just like, monkey holding gun. And then you think about you being in that scenario like, holy fuck, a monkey has a gun and it knows how to shoot? That's bad news. But yeah, I have always loved these movies. Ever since Rise came out, I've been a big fan of these movies, and I've seen them multiple times. And it's not something I often bring up because no one ever brings it up to me. But I'm gonna spend the entirety of this video essay just gushing about the Caesar trilogy. Also, I'm going to be using a lot of images in this video because I don't want to get copyright struck. I'm going to try to sneak in the more iconic scenes. I also want to plug in a YouTuber called Story Sheet. He has 3 videos on the films I'm going to talk about today, so I will link his channel in the description below. I'm going to be touching on some things that he already talked about in that video, but he goes way, way, way in depth. This is just my personal experience with why I love these groups of movies. So let's start with Rise. I like Rise quite a bit. This is very much the first movie of a trilogy. Very much like any of the best movie trilogies of all time. It's just a lot of setup. The thing that is really good about the Rise trilogy is the fact that it focuses on one character throughout the entire trilogy, and that's our boy Caesar, played by Andy Serkis. I mean, this guy, like, his motion capability is great. He's also in another perfect movie trilogy, that being The Lord of the Rings. He just brings such in-depth character to these CGI monkey characters. And the CGI, while at some shots a little dated, Rise still has very good CG. And they do all these movies on a really low budget, so it's surprising how good it actually looks. Most of the human characters are okay. James Franco kind of plays this like scientist who's trying to cure Alzheimer's to cure his father, so he kind of wants to rush the drug out. The villain of the story, I would say, is the corporation guy. He's all like, yeah, get that medicine out, boy, get it out, I need to make some money. And this is like very much the birth of Caesar. This is like before we get into main Caesar, which we see in Dawn of Planet of the Apes. Caesar still tries to imitate human behavior, aka James Franco's behavior, because James Franco raised him after Caesar's mother died in a lab experiment. Essentially, the world building to this is the drug that they use for the Alzheimer's disease they use on apes, and it makes them more intelligent. It affects a lot of people, and actual human beings get sick, and a lot of them die from it. World building conclusion to this movie, humanity gets wiped out by this virus. What I find most interesting about Caesar is what I kind of touched upon a little bit before, is that he very much acts human and wants to be seen as human, but James Franco, even though he loves him a lot, still sees him as an ape, and all the humans still sees him as an ape. The apes, once he interacts with them, they see him as an outsider, and Maurice, one of the pinnacle characters of this movie trilogy, is basically saying, hey, it's okay to be ape, embrace that side of yourself. So there's a little bit of commentary with that, which is really interesting. Where Caesar really turns in this trilogy from like humanoid trying to play human into ape is the no scene. And I'm gonna try to show it here.
Take your stinking paw off me, you damn dirty ape!
This scene, spine-chilling. I know it seems like I'm hosting up this franchise film to be like a cinematic masterpiece, but I truly think it is. It's actually one of the best movie trilogies I've ever watched. Caesar is such a complex character. After Caesar affects the rest of the apes, he's building up to being Caesar. He's rising up. He's rising his ranks. His like left and right hand man. Like he's going for it. And we get introduced to Kobo, who's going to be one of the best villains in this trilogy. This movie is essentially a rise of Caesar's character. The stuff around Caesar is okay. Like the human characters are all right, but really you're there for like Caesar being like, oh my god, I really relate to this. And fun fact, certain director that will be very popular, Matt Reeves, was like, hey, let's go further with that. Dawn opens up and humanity's pretty much already fucked. I believe it's like 5 or 10 years after Rise, and Caesar is a well-established leader. And that opening shot with him in the eyes, oh my god, cinema, baby, cinema. Here's the cinematographer's name. Damn, is it good. Before we get too into Dawn, I just kind of want to touch on the human characters, because I believe they're really good. I like the family. They're really interesting because the father has a son and he lost his mother. Essentially, new woman in his life who is the stepmom to his current kid. She also lost a kid, so like it's very depressing, also hopeful at the same time. Gary Oldman's character you can see as a bad guy when you first watch it, but really pay attention, because think about what you would do in his shoes. He's lost his family due to the plague, and now he sees the rest of what he sees as humanity as his family, and he needs to take care of them at any cost. If he's like, listen, if these apes can help us out, that's great. If they can't, we're just gonna gun them down. So it's up to this family unit to take care of this scenario. At the beginning of the film, rough guy, I'm just gonna call him Shane because he reminds me of Shane from The Walking Dead. The Shane motherfucker shoots one of Caesar's apes, and then they run away, but then the humans are like, oh no, we're running out of power. There's a dam nearby, but it's near ape territory. They initiated the incident. Caesar comes in to the human side, be like, by the way, apes can talk. Also, don't ever fucking step on our land again. And then the family comes by and they're like, hey, we need to step on your land. Can you help us build a dam? It's not Caesar's fault, and it's not those humans' fault. It's the act of one person. And that one person on the ape side is Koba, and Koba fucks everything up. But Koba is such a good character because him and Caesar are very close together. They're like brothers in the beginning, and Caesar has this fixation that like apes are better than humans. He's seen it firsthand how humans destroy themselves essentially. Apes build themselves up. There's one rule that Caesar always said: ape, not kill ape. And we're gonna get into the hypocrisy of that at the ending. And Caesar keeps forgiving Koba for doing all these terrible and really bad things that screw up the ape side of things. Basically, Koba was raised on hating humans because humans have only done one thing, and that's pick and prod at him, whereas Caesar was raised by love from humans. And it's only till the end of Rise that he's like, all right, I gotta stick with my own, kinda. Koba just does not give a shit. One of my favorite scenes is when he's like playing dumb with like a bunch of these human campers, and like he just grabs the gun and just blasts them. He's such a hateful and irredeemable character. Every time he's on screen, he's just eating it up. And I'll put the actor's name below on who plays Koba. By the way, these actors had to study like ape mannerisms and stuff like that. The behind the scenes footage is really freaking cool. At no point in any of these movies I'm like, oh, that's just a person pretending to be ape. Like on point. Like it never takes me out of the movie. But essentially, this whole movie is Caesar trying to take control of his group and be a great leader. And he does do that up until Kubo keeps pushing his buttons, up until the climax of the movie where like Koba's just like, Caesar, weak. And then Caesar just comes back and I'm like, Kobo, weaker. And they just brawl out. And it's not like an epic battle of the ages. It's almost like two brothers just like fighting each other, doing dirty tactics and stuff, because their ideologies will always clash. They're never going to agree with each other. So the only way this ends is with one of them dying. This is where Caesar has to go against his one rule: ape, not kill ape. And Koba even says that as he's dangling down, and then Caesar goes, you are no ape, and drops him because he sees what Kobo has done to his colony. You know, without Kobo messing with the humans, shooting down the humans. Oh, also that fucking, when Kobo's going up against the humans and that tank shot where it's just a tank spinning around, and you would think that's all like not practical. No, motherfucker, that's practical. Though that whole shot happened. That's all practical. These movies are so good, and especially Dawn. Hey, if we could get away with practicality, we're gonna go for it. But like everything else, like nature-wise, that's all shot on location. It's very, very impressive. This movie is probably my favorite one. It's just so good, especially with Caesar's character development. The human characters are much better in this, and the action is just spectacular. And now we have to get to the final part of this awesome trilogy. War is one of the most perfect conclusions to a movie trilogy of all time. This is the end of Caesar's journey and the end of Caesar's life. This is a revenge story, right? But it's not the generic Caesar guns down a bunch of people and stuff like that. It's a very quiet movie. And I think during the promotion of when the movie came out, it seemed like a one glorious battle, like kind of like the Battle of Helm's Deep type of thing. It's a much more war as a concept kind of. It's more of a drama than it is an actual action movie. Caesar and his group found a new land that is peaceful and away from humans because of his son coming back. He says, hey, there's this land. It's great. Human military group finds out where Caesar is, tries to gun him down, but they actually gun down his son from the previous movie and his wife. All Caesar has left is his youngest son, and he's like, I need to get revenge for this. So he tells the group, hey, go to that land. Don't wait for me. I need some blood. And then Maurice, Rocket I haven't mentioned, bullied Caesar and Rise, and now is his left-hand man. Maurice, I would definitely say, is his right-hand man. Come in to help him on his journey. And Caesar is just so emotionally attached from humans. Whereas, like, he was very sympathetic in Dawn. He's completely detached now because all he sees is hate. To the fact where he kills this guy as they're walking through to their destination. And then this little girl comes in. And then he's like to Maurice, yeah, I don't care about this little girl. And Maurice is like, motherfucker, we're taking this little girl. I'm trying to show you that you're more human than these vicious motherfuckers. The girl has this disease where she's more animalistic and can't talk. And that's what's affecting the humans. Basically, like the start of the human apocalypse and Rise. Dawn, we see the human civilization slowly dwindling. War, it's just pretty much, dude, it's over. So they pick up this girl. Usually with these revenge stories, it's usually the hero realizes he messed up toward the end, but it's more the middle part. Caesar gets captured. He sees across the prison camp his younger son being caged up. He's like, what have I done? I caused all of this to happen. And then we get introduced to Woody Harrelson's character. He's a really great villain, and he's basically, so Caesar always is presented as a leader, but you get a sense that Caesar also kind of sees himself as a god figure, and Woody Harrelson is that god figure fully realized. Again, it's like another mirror. It's just like Kubo. And another thing about the reflection of Kubo, see, Kubo died in the last one, but Caesar still hasn't forgotten that. And even Maurice at one point says, hey, your vengeance for humans, you're kind of sounding like Koba right now. And Caesar's like, shut up, I'm nothing like Koba. Like, I should have never joined you guys. I'm going alone. And then there's even a vision at a fireplace, and he's like, Koba? And then Koba just faces him, and he goes, hey, ape, no kill ape. And it's like, oh my god, it's so good. And then there's Bad Ape, which is the comic relief. And usually comic reliefs are annoying, but I think this character is done very, very well because it's kind of like what Story Sheet mentioned in his video. He is like human empathy embodied. He's basically like the characterization of Caesar's human empathy that is like gone right now because all he cares about is revenge. Stuff happens in the film, action happens. It's very good. It's slowly paced. That's why I like Dawn's pacing a little bit better, but War is still, it's a character film. It's studying Caesar's character and where he's at this point. Caesar finally gets a jump on Woody Harrelson, and then Woody Harrelson is infected. He's affected by the doll because the little girl at the beginning of the movie hands Caesar the doll, and then Woody Harrelson's character picks it up, so then he's infected now. Caesar has that gun. He has that moment to shoot him, and even Woody Harrelson is like, do it. And he's like, no, I can't become one of you guys because then I'm endangering my whole ape race, essentially, to repeating humanity's mistakes. So he lets the gun down. Woody Harrelson shoots himself, and then I don't know if YouTube's gonna well, we're not monetized on this channel. Come on, let's not be coy here. Caesar escapes It's kind of funny because like Caesar doesn't necessarily kill the humans in that prison camp. They actually do them themselves. They cause an avalanche, and then the avalanche completely wipes the prison people out and the people coming after the prison people completely out, seeing like, oh, humanity's just gonna damage itself. It's never the apes that do the actual damaging. There's always the humans doing damage to themselves every single time. We finally get one of the best scenes, one of the best death scenes. They finally arrive at the location. Caesar's looking out and he's like, all right, I can move on now. I'm dying. And Maurice is like, I will tell your son that who you were and your story, essentially. And then Caesar, as he lays down from his arrow wound, slowly dies. And then the camera fades up while other apes are noticing, and the movie ends, because this whole trilogy has been through Caesar's perspective. That's what's so storytelling, cinematography, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, it's so good because Caesar's story is now over. We're going to see how it continues on 300 years from now in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which I might see tonight or tomorrow night. We are going to go over it Thursday on Black Hudson Live, while I believe this video on the channel will be live as well, or should be. So you could watch this video and then click on the live stream right after. You see, that's how YouTube algorithm thinking, motherfucker. This is such a great movie trilogy, especially because it pretty much follows one major characters and other side characters as well, and just builds them up constantly and does brand new things to those characters in each and every movie. Usually with sequels, the characters just redo what they did in the first one over and over ad nauseum, but not this one. Every single movie in this trilogy does something completely different from the last one. And I think they get better and better. Now, depending on how I'm feeling, I might say War is better than Dawn, or Dawn is better than War, but it's definitely between those two. And Rise, not to discredit it or anything, it's a great setup. It just feels like with Rise, anyone could have kind of directed those movies. It just seems kind of like just a jumping off starting point, whereas Matt Reeves' vision like really carries this franchise. The previous director, he did a great job as well, but Matt Reeves' vision is awesome, and I can't wait to see what he does in the Batman. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, check out Black Hudson, like, share, and subscribe. We're going to do a live stream about the new movie, and then check out my personal stuff under the Jack Hudson channel. I go over nerdy stuff and comic book stuff and stuff like that, so I said stuff a lot in that sentence. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and please, again, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to blow this video up like the Dune one. If you haven't seen that one, check it out as well. All right, bye, guys.
Impatient, hoping that my time will soon come, then I waste it. Sitting in the bar, sipping rum, I can't feel it. When the pressure comes, I get numb, so speechless. Then I pack my bags, then run to the countryside. Problem surface only on my phone, where the envy lies. All my friends made it on their own, it's a fucking crime.